Hi, my name is Paul Zajac,
And I am Ole Stene.
and this is Boss Battles Top 5. Welcome. This is the show where we look at other people's content and try and go through five cool plays that maybe you can use in your own campaign, and we're going to attempt to do it in under 10 minutes so as not to waste a lot of your time.
And today we are looking at the channel Atmoseeker. It's a channel about how to make atmosphere through sound and effects in your role playing games. He also has a lot of live plays that you should check out. So we are going to touch on to several episodes here. And to bring us to our first point, we have our resident barbarian Stan. Let it rip, Stan. Okay, our first point is from the episode Hunters of Davokar. And there we see some very efficient pre-buffing in the first turns of combat as the party first casts Bless on everyone, then Fairy Fire to get advantage on all their attacks against the boss. And this sets up their barbarian, not Stan, but someone else, who rages, uses frenzy, and does a lot of damage through multiple attacks.
Yeah, this is a great series of moves, and I think that players like you and your friends there on Team Norway are used to doing these things, acting together in cooperation like the X-Men, but it's not necessarily intuitive, and this is a really great example of doing that. All right, we'll take a look next at number 4. So this is from the episode Hunters of Davokar, and the instance comes when one of the players notes on a prior round that the monster seems to have some sort of resistance. And it's not clear to the player, is it resistant or is this creature immune? And so he asks more, and so in cooperation with the DM they make a skill check, and then the guy discovers that it's immunity, and that the monster's a shape changer. So through asking finds out more information, which leads to an excellent play, because he then uses, I've got Moonbeam, which can force shape changers to revert to their natural form, which ultimately happens, and basically getting that information resolves the combat. So another great move.
Yeah, this shows how important it is to communicate with your GM and not just assume the way things are. Also
Yeah,
shows that Moonbeam is a great spell in the right circumstance.
absolutely.
Okay, for play number 3, this is from The Lady of the Marsh, where this is a bit of a DM freebie, as player casts Cure Light Wounds, but he role plays is at holding out his hand to help his compatriot back on the feet, and the GM lets a caster use his movement to get the other character up from prone, which is not something the rules allow as raw, but very thematic and good in this moment.
Yeah, I like this play because even though it's not rules as written. I think it still incorporates the spirit of the rules, because there is an exchange of movement for change of position, and I think thematically it's so cool that it's not just like the cleric healer going in and healing. It's like, hey buddy, let me give you a hand up, and I don't know, it made the cleric seem cool to me, which I don't really think clerics are that cool. Okay, moving on. Number 2 is actually two instances of using spells, and this is from the episode Curse of Chaos, where they're fighting this insane big bad on the ocean, and so they use two different spells. One, control water, to move the ship around, and the second spell wind wall to influence the winds and propel the ship forward. And so I think it's a great example of using the environment, which is not like a combat move and it's not a social move, but it was a move that really defined the battle. And so we don't often we think of D&D as like combat or social, but like this was like a third thing. This was like environment, which I think was awesome.
Yeah, it really shows how you can work with your environment to make the battle cinematic and cool, and not just a bunch of die rolls and shouting numbers at each other.
Yeah.
Oh, and finally, our number one, we're going to do something a little unusual, and there's no particular play here. Instead, we will mention the atmosphere in all of these games as our number one. Sebastian from Atmoseeker does a very good job at putting up environments with lightning and sounds and smoke. You just have to watch it for yourself. I bought my smoke machine, and I'll set it up probably one of these days now.
Yeah. So the sets are pretty amazing. It's interesting. I've only recently, since I started playing D&D again, been playing online, and so didn't have miniatures as part of my game. And I know, Ula, that you are really into it. You've won competitions for painting your own miniatures, and so. Some people are really into it, and some people aren't. I remember there was this anecdote where both you and I were DMs last summer at this event hosted by the Dungeon Dudes, and at the end, Monty Martin gives away all the miniatures, right? And I was standing there. I didn't really want them, and he's like, "Hey, you got to get in there and get some miniatures." And I was like, I don't really use them. And he just kind of looked at me like I was a space alien. So I think it's a powerful, it was a powerful moment when I realized, like people are really into minis. And if you are, you have to watch this guy. It's awesome. Especially, this battle at sea and the monster they're fighting. It's like how he does it is, wow, really good. And then, the other one that I really liked is like they're in the forest and there's a forest fire, so it changes from moonlight to fire, and there's things crackling all around. It was really immersive and pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and you only have to do some of these things to really elevate your game. So yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and I think we got a bunch of time to spare. So again, we did it in under 10 minutes, delivering the goods. All right. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Boss Battles Top 5.